You are listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
Commercial!
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to noon every Sunday. And I am your host, Angela Smarito. And in studio with me, we have our co-host and videographer, Melissa Jacob.
Hello, hello.
And her business is called Striking Brand. And if you go to baadradio.com, you can also go to our YouTube channel. You can see all the previous episodes of the show there. She does a beautiful job with the videos. And if you go to strikingbrand.com, you get to see all of her other work. Because in addition to doing all the video work, she is also a photographer. And before we jump into things, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Ground Up Property Services. The Florida heat is here, and oh boy, it is here. So now is the time to get your irrigation system serviced by Ground Up Property Services. Don't wait until your grass is dead or dying or brown and ugly.
Like mine.
Call today, 407-468-4295, or visit groundupinc.net. And so today we have Derrick Brantley back in studio, and he is the owner and operator of Inbalance Bodywork. How are you?
I'm great. Nice to be here again.
He put his phone down now. I think I called him out because he was like on his phone playing a game. I was like, really?
It's just spending the time.
I know.
I would probably do the same thing, honestly.
But I love shows with Derrick and like John Kennedy last week, because it's people that are sponsors of the show. They've been on before. They know the drill, and so then that just makes you subject to getting picked on a little bit. So
I'm okay with it. It's
true.
Anyway, so how have things been?
Good. Busy, really busy. So
okay,
it's,
I like
good problem
busy.
to have. Yeah.
I like busy. Talk about that a little bit.
More people are finding out about what I do. So my two biggest challenges is that people don't know what I do. It's very niche, and I have to keep finding new clients because they keep getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, that's one thing that Derrick and I have sat down and had multiple one-to-ones, and that's just an ongoing thing that it's hard for me to wrap my head around, is like you cure your patients, so then you're constantly having to work to get more and more and more. You know what I mean?
But the sports ones, the ones that are sports related, I mean, they're going to get injured again.
I hope
They do, yeah. You tell me what sport you play, I can probably guess what hurts.
Yeah, we had Tom and I got hit up this past week with somebody about like Aiden's going into his senior year. There's all the college thing going on, and they're like, oh, you have to hurry up and get him commit in case he gets hurt. I'm like,
Oh,
don't
God.
say that. I'm like, that's awful. But we have Derrick like in the corner,
true.
so I'm not too terribly worried about it. But still, it's like, oh,
That's a bad way to say it.
don't put that in the universe, right?
Seriously.
Well, before we jump into all that, like there are going to be some new listeners, so let's tell everybody like what your business is.
Sure. So I'm basically a manual therapist. So my background's in massage therapy. I've worked in rehabilitation, so it's a lot of those car accident cases, chronic pain, things like that. So I learned a lot of different techniques. I learned a technique that I currently do out of Canada, and I get people to turn off pain. So it's like a dig and drag technique against the bones. I rev up inflammation temporarily. I get it to calm down. So it's just turning off pain receptors at its source. I get people better. If I can't cure it, I can treat it. Keep your pain at 2. I have those chronic pain people like plantar fasciitis. I never see them again. I fix it. Have a nice life.
Remind me again what that was.
Chronic inflammation of the plantar fascia at the bottom of the foot.
Bottom
Usually
of the
it's
foot,
tightness
yeah.
in the calf that's pulling on the foot. I treat that whole line. Back pain, neck pain, head to toe, TMJ, tennis elbow. I treat it. Anything that hurts, I can treat it. So people call in, I can kind of assess and see if you're a client of mine, or sometimes, hey, that's more of an acupuncture issue. Like gout, I can't really do much for that. That's just lay off the alcohol.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
what about if somebody were to say, hey, because I was literally just chatting with somebody and they say they threw their back out.
yeah, so there's a lot of neuroscience behind that. So it's basically we call it a core blowout. So like if you imagine like there's a pressure system that they deflate the balloon, I say. So I just have to turn that back on. It's a very easy fix. I see it all the time.
So every time somebody says they threw their back out, I can just say, call Derrick.
Yep.
All right.
That's
Easy.
a perfect referral.
I have a referral for you.
Sure.
I can type it right now. I could be like, hey, call my buddy Derrick. No, that's awesome. So is that something that happens? I mean, because I hear people say that all the time. Sometimes they just have a sprain, but like literally throwing your back out is what you just described, right?
Yeah, I see it quite a bit. I get help text 2 or 3 times a week. I have a Google Voice number. People can text me. They say, "Help, I fell. Can you get me in?" Usually, I have a gap that day, or I can get them in the next day.
How do they usually get to you if they're like? I mean, they have to find their own transportation. You don't go to them. That's correct, right?
Yeah, I have an office. I'm in Lake Mary because I'm getting people driving from all over the state. I had a lady driving from Miami for frozen shoulder. There's only a handful of people that do what I do. I learned it in Canada, so I came here and kind of building and getting people to know about it.
Yeah, I always like the story about learning it from the people from Canada. Weren't they here recently?
They come to Orlando a couple times a year. I'm actually going to Ottawa next week, so I can get more training. I get more one-on-one time with my teacher. He wants me to be the Florida guy because I've been doing it the longest. I have the most experience because there's some people that are doing it. They're a little new, but I get the more difficult, challenging cases. Like, hey, this person has a really unique nerve entrapment, unique issue that they need someone that has a little bit more experience.
Does the location up in Canada, like basically headquarters, I mean, do they have people that contact them and then they sort of send those you just said the harder cases?
There's a few times when my teacher comes to town. I actually had one of my clients go see my teacher and like, hey, like I can help you, but he has a really complex case. Like, I want you to see my teacher, and I got to watch my teacher work on him.
Can you tell us about the complex case?
Sure. So he has probably I sent him for an MRI. So he has a wrist drop. So it's symptoms of radial nerve entrapment. His arm's like a claw almost, not really median nerve. It just, he can't really, possibly has a brachial plexus lesion. So my teacher worked on him.
So it's stuck like this all the time, and if he tries to move it, it hurts.
He is also a former drug addict, so he's clean now, but just sometimes you're putting that stuff in your body, it can cause nerve damage and things. So more complex case. Even my teacher had a little bit of a challenge with him and sent him for an MRI. There's other people like concussions, like really complex traumatic brain injuries. I've sent to my teacher. It's like, hey, just I get to watch my teacher work, so I get to learn. But
how did they treat? I'm just so curious because, like I said, it's interesting that you have the ability to say, I'm not sure about this one. I'm going to watch and learn from that. But I'm very curious how they go about fixing somebody that has. I mean, do they have to just work at different points in their body to find the receptor?
You work with them, get them out of pain. If what doesn't work at first, you try something else. One thing my teacher do, he calls it shocking the system. So he'll just work on points where the tendons connect and he calls it like a nervous system reset. You'll be there for 5 minutes and he will light you up. He's aggressive.
Painful, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a lot nicer than my teacher, and he lights them up and sends them home. He got to that point where he started teaching this because people started driving 4 hours to come see him. And it was long story behind it, but they were driving really far. Like, we got to start teaching this. Like I even now I get calls like, hey, because we have a directory on the website for the technique, and hey, like, my mom lives in Kansas. Do you know anybody who does this? So sometimes I can give them a phone number. Sometimes it's taking off in the States, but blowing up in Canada.
That's you're creating the networking channels in the different areas.
Absolutely.
Well, that's awesome. How many people do you know of in the state of Florida that do it?
That are specialists. So there's a full certification program. There's a lot of people who just took the upper body or they just took the lower. The people who are fully specialists, I think it's like 7 or 8.
Wow.
Not many. And some of them are brand new. They're trying to get confidence and start doing it. It takes a while. I got to a point where you can come in like, okay, I can treat your problem. It's not. When I first learned this, I had my book under the ground, like, oh, flipping the book.
I don't want to mess this guy up.
Yeah. Rhomboid, yes, okay, what's that protocol? So it's just, there's about 200 protocols to memorize. So like if they have this issue, it's this is how you treat it. So it's just you get in the groove and
right. Well, like I said, with experience comes confidence. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
Sure. All right. Well, like I said, we are coming up to a break, but when we get back from break, I want to hit on a couple of different things. I want to talk about the process people go through in order to book appointments with you. Do they buy it? We've talked about this before, but I know we have new people that will be listening. Do they can they buy sessions, or like I said, how that whole process works? So, like I said, I know you're about to launch into it, aren't you? You're about to start.
Deep breath.
But yeah, so actually we're going to run to break, and when we get back, we'll have more BaaD Radio. So stay tuned.
Awesome.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore. Summer is here, and so it's a time for a trip to Premier Couples Superstore. They have a huge selection of lingerie, shoes, toys, games, love oils, and a ton of great gifts. 5009 South OBT or shop online at premiercouples.net because a couple that plays together stays together.
Oh, yeah.
And we're talking with Derrick Brantley, and he's the owner-operator of Inbalance Bodywork. And before break, I started to ask him about 3 or 4 questions, and he started to answer them, and I had to stop him. So anyway, so the first thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is the process of how they book. So talk to me about when you have a new patient or somebody finds you online, how do they go about booking an appointment with you?
Yeah, I try to make it super easy. I get complimented a lot on how easy it is. I mean, I can run my business through my phone. It's kind of neat. So all the apps that I use, they can book online on my website. I have a Google Voice number people can text if they have questions, and it's just very easy. And most of my stuff is online. Sometimes they'll call if they have questions, like, I don't know if you can help me. I don't know what you can do, things like that. But most of the time they just book online. I can communicate with them through the app, or they can send me messages. It's just very easy.
When somebody's not sure, do you usually have a call with them prior to them booking? So or do you just say, tell me what's going on via the texting app?
Either. Yeah, sometimes they'll call, like, I have this issue. I don't know if you can help me. And there's maybe sometimes I say, yeah, well, that's a referral for this, or hey, you should try this, but 90% success rate. If it hurts, I can help. I'm kind of known in town as the pain guy.
I like it. That's not a bad thing to be known as. That's actually a really good thing.
They call me Magic Fingers or whatever it is. Like, I don't know what he does, just call him.
Absolutely. Well, no, and also since you're in the networking world too, if you can't do it, I'm sure you have somebody that you can call.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I love about all the networking BNI specifically is that if I don't know the person, I can get online and get into the Facebook group for BNI and be like, I am looking for this.
Right.
And you just get so many people respond. So, and then I'm always comfortable referring to people in BNI simply because they've already been vetted. And if somebody's going to recommend them, then chances are that you're going to have a good experience. I can't say that I've been disappointed yet. So that's always a good thing. All right. So as far as because we always kid is like, you fix them, they don't come back, so you're constantly having to. But how do people normally visit you? Is it like the same sort of setup as a chiropractor where you buy a number of sessions or a masseuse, or how does that work?
Yeah, I don't really do packages because people will buy 10, they get better in 4, and then I have 6 sessions I don't know what to do with. And I'm honest, so it's like just pay as you go. And I've shortened sessions. People book a 45-minute session for tennis elbow. Like, I'm bored after 10 minutes. I'm going to save you some money. So. And I've said, hey, like, I can get this done in 15 minutes. This call to 15, save you $20.
Nice.
So just that honesty helps. I tell people, try to tip me. Like, just tell your friends I make more money that way, and you can keep your $10.
Oh, that's nice though. They try to tip you.
Yeah, the most valuable gift is a gift of referral. And it's like, tell your friends.
Very true.
Yeah, I always have a joke. I say, tell your friends I have a car payment. So need more painful people in here.
And that definitely probably helps when you're cutting the sessions shorter if they don't need it. Because I know me personally, just saying that, I would be like referring anybody to you. Because I'm like, this person's honest. It's not just
it's saving the money, right?
I listen to feedbacks of the industry. Like, every industry has their quibbles and things. Like, you go to whatever massage place and they just rub lotion on your back, or things like that. Like, I'm actually going to fix your problem. And some people, they want this, like, if they want deep tissue, like, I will literally massage your bones. I get to the bone. Like, if you want it deep, I can do it. Like, how deep do you get? Literally the bone. But that's where the pain receptors are, and it works. And some people limp in, walk out. It's always fun to see that, transformation.
And then usually do you do like a follow up with them?
Yeah, I'll check up with text.
Actually, no, you do, because I've come to see you before, and so has Tom, my husband, and you do. You're like, how's Tom feeling? How is you doing? And I'm always like, I'm better. I can't say I threw anything out, but I just had a horrible pain like right here. And I went in and Derrick, I told him what was going on, and he did like 5 minutes worth of stuff, and it didn't actually hurt, which I was very surprised.
Some people, it feels good on their spa.
Yeah, I was anticipating pain, but it was tolerable, and it really did help. What did you do to me?
Just stimulate the nervous system at a higher threshold. So I just rev up inflammation temporarily. The reason why what I do works is I'm doing everything wrong. So like, I'm not telling no ice, heat. People, I work into inflamed tissue. You go to school, like, you stay away from inflamed tissue. Like, I go straight into it. Like, I'm a pain chaser. Like, I get to the pain. I treat pain with pain. It works. So there's a lot.
So that's interesting. So if something's inflamed, you go in there and you poke the bear. Needless,
Right.
or kind
I
of
like
say,
that.
huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna use that. So I mean, it's kind of like a fever. Your
Right.
body's gonna heat up to try to kill the virus. Same thing. I kind of cause that inflammation and fever, so to speak. So I tell people heat movement instead of ice and rest. Heat and go take a walk around. I go take a walk around Target. If you feel the need to buy something, go ahead. Hot bath, glass of wine, do your thing.
So you do recommend heat over ice?
Yes, there's a Dr. Gabe Merkin who created the rice method in the 60s, 70s. He actually kind of doubled back on his own research. He helped co-author a book called Ice, the Delusionary Treatment Method, saying, sorry, I was wrong all this time. There's a long story behind it, but ice is good for just pain in the first 20 minutes of an injury, just as an analgesic. But after that, you want the inflammation you want. So in professional sports now, if someone gets injured, they immediately start physical therapy and use heat. So
Really?
Like if a baseball player tears his rotator cuff, that day he's going to start physical therapy
Why
just
do
to help.
Why do you want the inflammation?
Because it needs to be the inflammation cascade. Yeah, and these mechanoreceptors that I'm working with need to be stimulated at a higher threshold, so it causes that inflammation response just to kind of flush everything out. It's
I'm
a
not.
lot of-
I'm trying to get my head wrapped around. I think I understand what you're saying. It's like you said, it's digging into something that's already hurting.
very complex, very boring neuroscience. That
Explain it to me like I'm 5.
That's
I
what
know,
I do.
right?
Keep it super simple. So I tell people I'm in your garage, I'm in the fuse box, and I'm flipping switches, and you have live wires. I'm fixing all that. People keep going to the outlet. It's a breaker problem.
What kind of pricing are we talking about?
Half hour is $80.
It's not bad at
Not
all.
bad at all. I probably should raise my rates, but it's yeah. I tell people like, hey, I pump gas too. But it's good. Most people 3 to 8 sessions, and they get to a position of maintenance. The most common frequency is every 3 months or so.
Oh, really?
Your
That's
body's
it?
yeah. When your body's like a car, when it needs an oil change, just come in for a tune-up. People wait until they have horrible pain until they come back. I have some people I see once a year. I should see you every 3 to 4 months.
Right. Well, I'm one of those people. But I can also see, like I said, if you're sitting there and you have a half-hour session and you're done in 15 minutes, it'd be like, okay, we'll work on something else and just make up that 15
Busy work.
minutes. Like you said,
Neck.
it's like the,
I'll do some neck stuff or
right.
check out a shoulder. I like to do calves on people if they can take it. It's a little uncomfortable to do calves, but it really helps with blood flow to the feet. It's the furthest away from the heart, so it just helps with that highway of blood flow.
Does it really? Because I find that why is that uncomfortable? Because I don't like it at all.
You're on your feet all the time, and especially women that wear heels. They're in that position of that shortened position, so it's adaptive shortening.
Oh my God, I put on heels for the first time in like 6 months yesterday, and I was not happy.
Yeah, I've done that recently.
I was like, oh, it feels good to walk around. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. I had them off. Like once the meeting was over in the car, I'm like taking them off, driving home barefoot.
Yeah, for sure.
I used to, when I worked in radio, oh my God, I used to wear the highest heels all
Same.
the time. Now I'm like this craziness. It's not good. Not happy making.
Yeah, so I always ask people, what do you do? What are your hobbies? What do you do for work? What is like, not to be nosy, but I need to know how you use your body. Like,
Yeah.
do you work in a garden all the time? Are you carrying heavy bags of mulch? What do you do? Do you sit at a desk? Are you a manual labor worker? What sports do you play? Because I need to know how you're using your lady. Just before I came in, she's having neck pain. It's not quite going away, but ironically, she just got a new bed. And just it's not breaking in. She's not feeling right on it. And I told her to sleep because her daughter moved out. And I said, sleep in her bed for the next 4 days and see if your pain goes away. So
But will she be able to break her bed in?
maybe it's some
It's
people.
like a big purchase, man.
I get asked all the time, what kind of mattress should I do? It's mama bear, papa bear. Everybody's different. Some people like a rock. Some people want a cloud. So
Not
it's just
me, man.
depends
I'm
on
like
you.
soften that bad boy up because I got curves. Right?
Yeah, same.
I don't know. When we traveled, we had a couple of beds that didn't give, and like my whole I said, I'm a side sleeper, and when it's flat and as hard as a rock, and my body goes like this, it doesn't feel very good. He's like, I can fix you.
Well, sure. I treat pain.
All right, we're gonna go to break, and when we get back, we'll have more with Derrick. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar. And don't miss out on Frogger's amazing menu where everything is fresh, never frozen. With 4 great locations, there is bound to be one near you. Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Frogger's. Hoppin' with food and fun.
Yeah, boy.
We're here with Derrick Brantley, but I want to ask a question real fast because I've been doing a poll because I work with Frogger's for their marketing and stuff.
Oh, I know what this question is.
Yeah. So do you order food delivery? Do you use like DoorDash, Uber Eats, or Frogger? Because I'm trying to figure out what the majority of people do. Do they go to the restaurant's website first and order from, and then decide what they're going to use? Or do they go to the DoorDash.com or do they go to Uber Eats? You know what I mean? What do you do?
I try to use the restaurant first, but that's only because I'm a small business owner and I know that it's more beneficial for them. But if I didn't have that in my mind, I'd just go straight to DoorDash.
Would you really? And what about you?
I like to order and go there because it's a little pricey. I mean, the amount of money that I'm saving, I would spend less time and money in gas than I would in the delivery fee.
Right. Because that restaurants increase the prices on DoorDash because the DoorDash and Uber Eats take like a 20%. It's huge.
I'd rather just drive.
Huh?
I'd rather just drive.
Right. Yeah. So that's just it, is that there's just all these different options as being in the restaurant business, and I don't know it, so I'm trying to learn it, and it's been awesome because I can use my own social media platforms as you know what I mean, to take like polls and stuff like that. So do you ever do that on your social? Just like ask questions, and you can't do polls on your own personal pages anymore, but you can do polls on
business ones
and group pages.
I ask clients personally because the customer experience is the most important thing. As a business owner, I have to step out of my business, and if I were a customer, and I try to solve the problems in my own industry that people go to this person, that person, and they complain. I try to fix it, whatever they like, I try to make it better.
Okay, that's really cool. So tell us a little bit about the different we call them ailments that you treat.
That I treat, and the most common thing is back pain, neck pain. That I see. There's a lot of different things. People come in and like, oh my gosh, I have a herniated disc. Or as like most people do, it's like a miles on the car. It's going to have some wear and tear. It's fine. So I can help with the pain. And we talk about that in class. There's a lot of people, they could be bone on their knee. They don't always feel pain from it. They get an MRI like, hey, you need knee replacement. I have people like that. Like
really, they just don't feel pain. But I meant the stuff. The neck and back work you've done can help people with headaches as well, right?
Headaches, migraines is really one of the gems of this technique. Plantar fasciitis, any kind of nerve entrapment, compartment syndrome, tennis elbow, and compartment syndromes in the calf. It's so restricted they can't get blood flow. So
is that a Charlie horse? I've had one of those before.
More of a spasm, but it's just chronic. Yeah. Very rarely they can get acute. They have to go to the hospital and do a fasciotomy. They have to cut because you could lose your leg. That's why another reason why I do calves. It's so easily treated, treatable. Chronic is really runners get it. They just get achy calves and they try to stretch, and I incorporate that in.
You know what is a Charlie horse? I meant
a spasm. Dehydration or overuse.
Do you know what causes it or how to keep it from happening?
Yeah, just make sure you have plenty of electrolytes. Hydrate.
Oh.
A lot of athletes, they can.
Have you ever gotten a Charlie horse in like your calves? You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I've cramped up really bad.
Where it's like you curl. I used to get them when I was pregnant all the time. When you're curled up in a ball and then you go to stretch out and your muscle and your leg and your calf doesn't want to stretch, and so you've given it this like tug. And the pain is excruciating.
It's like squeezing a dry sponge. I tell people hydrate. Get electrolytes.
So you said people can get that kind of pain that doesn't go away, so they have to go to the hospital?
That's for compartment syndrome. I've only seen one case. It's not as common, but it's very preventable. TMJ, I treat lots of different things. If it hurts, I can treat
again?
it.
It's your jaw, right?
Yeah, it's your jaw.
What causes that?
A lot of gum chewing will do it.
Really?
Chewing, abuse, like, was a guy jiu-jitsu who took an elbow to the jaw, maybe T-boned in a car accident.
And that's just jaw pain. I mean, or is that bone on bone too?
It's right. You have your articular disc in here. It's like a brake pad for the jaw.
All right. So you just talked about a whole lot of things, and like I got to like the back and the neck part.
Just flying through the most common things I see, just neck, shoulder.
Let's talk about a couple of them and give some examples.
Well, I get a lot of tennis elbow, golfer's elbow.
What is tennis elbow?
Tennis elbow is lateral epicondylitis. It's just where the tendon connects to a bone. Repetitive strains, that's why I call it tennis. People's like, I don't even play tennis. You don't have to. Golfer's elbow, a lot of Little League baseball players, they'll get the UCL injury, the ulnar collateral ligament. So when they're pitching and overextending their arm, they get that issue. Very easy fix, 15-minute session.
And it's fixed permanently?
Well, they go back into pitching 50, 60, 100 pitches a game.
Right.
Frozen shoulder, I can fix that as well.
That's the one that you said that's kind of
Takes a while. It takes
multiple sessions.
Yeah, it can take quite a while to heal on its own. I just accelerate it. Even my teacher, as good as he is, it takes him 6 to 8 sessions.
And what causes? I mean, was it you that told me that frozen shoulder is just in your brain? It's really like it's your brain sending signals that's freezing you up.
Yeah, because there's videos where you can look online where they'll have someone under sedation, and they can, if you take the nervous system out of the equation, they're under full anesthesia. They have full range of motion in their shoulder. And then, but when the nervous system, it's locking it down. So just slowly reprogramming the nervous. I tell people that I'm turning your body back to default settings. I'm turning stuff on that needs to get turned on and turning stuff off that needs to get turned off. I'm just resetting the nervous system. That's why they call it reset.
Out of the different people that you see for sports, what is the one that you see the most? A
lot of baseball. I have a lot of moms that bring their kids in, just shoulder injuries.
You're part of a statistic.
Yeah. For sure. What about, I mean, I would think volleyball too.
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, it's common, like in Canada where a lot of the therapists are, it's all hockey stuff. So it's a lot of hockey kids. For me, I get the baseball, basketball, football. I get some swimmers.
I guess football I would think football would be more than baseball though, because of
low back.
Back right?
Yeah. Runners, I get waist down, groin, knees, ankles, plantar fasciitis, ankle pain.
What about shin splints?
Yep. Okay. Oh, yes, shin splints. I can treat that. That's another not so comfortable treatment, but I can.
What do you have to do for that? I've had shin splints before too, and they hurt. Are you a runner? You're a runner, aren't you?
Kind of, not really now, but
yeah.
I get directly on the tibia, the anterior and posterior aspect of the bone itself, and I just press straight on it.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
It works. People's like, "Hey man, can you do that thing? I know I'm gonna regret this, but I was running myself, and I knew exactly what it was. And as a therapist, I know exactly what hurts when I get pain. So like I had shin splints. I was on the side of the road digging in my own leg, and people driving by like, "What is he doing?"
Oh God!
I was like, I knew what it was. I was like, yeah, it was fire.
All right, I'm going to ask you what shin splints are, but I know you're going to give me an answer that I'm not going to understand. So, because when I think of shin splints, what I think of is like your bone like shredding almost into like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you get like a chicken bone and you split it like that, you've got those little like splinters.
I don't think it's bone stuff. It's like, is it your muscle that's attached to it in a weird way?
Well, it's called periostitis, so inflammation of the periosteum itself. And you can get posterior shin splints, which is on the tib posterior, which is behind. So it's.
Are we talking about bones or muscles?
Bones or muscles?
Well, one thing my teachers say: forget about muscles.
Okay, so it's a bone.
It's a bone right on the bone. So the connective tissue that anchors to the bone, that's the most important part. So when I look at a body, I just imagine a skeleton. I find something bony, I press on it, and we call it the blisters in the body. So it's just.
And so the part that causes pain is kind of getting around that muscle part and to the part, because like I said, that's where the inflammation is. I try to figure out the sciences stuff. I mean, like I said, you have to learn so much about the human body to do what you do.
It is. People call me and they say, "Hey, Dr. Brantley," I'm not a doctor. I can get in trouble. I know there's. I have to be careful to stay in my lane. I'm just a pain guy. People ask me medical advice to diagnose them. Like I am not a doctor at it. I can't do this, do that. I can get.
I would totally trust you to ask you a medical question. I mean, like I said, I know you can't prescribe drugs or anything like that, but I mean, I would totally trust you because you make more sense to me than half the doctors that I've talked to.
I read a lot of really boring books.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. So
I have to constantly read, and it's really kind of one side of my brain is technician, the other side of my brain is the business owner. You're constantly just like managing a multiple personality disorder. then you got to put the manager hat on. So it's a lot.
No, being a small business owner is a challenge. There's, like I said, there's the part of the actual operating the business, but then there's the marketing part as well. So, all right, well, look at that. I mean, it's like I said, time flies by. I do want to talk a little bit when we get back and talk about the growth of your business and what are some of the things that you are doing for the future to grow your business.
For sure. That's exciting.
All right, you guys, stay tuned for more BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most important investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. libertypropertyinspections.net, helping you protect your investment. Also want to give a huge shout out to Bolts Legal. Thank you so much. Crazy Muscle Nutrition, our very own In Balance Bodywork. We've got Derrick here right now. Forge IT Consulting and Body Street in Winter Park. So while we're on break, I asked Derrick if it was okay if we talked a little bit about like marketing strategies, because of like there's so many things that you have to take into account. The size of the business, what is the functionality of the business? Like yours is like you might not be a doctor, but you are definitely in the medical field. There's no doubts about that. And then there's also the challenge that you have of what do you do? Because you don't fall in a category that is chiropractor or a massage. You know what I mean? It's like you have your very own. So that in itself can be challenging. So just if you like, just say off the top of your head, what is the biggest thing that brings people to you?
Word of mouth. I have brochures that I had designed that describe what I do, and every new client I give them a couple of brochures. Like, hey, if you know anybody, happy to help. They usually send their whole friends, family, coworkers in. I want to meet your massage therapist. And tell your personal trainer, yoga instructor. So usually I find those people. I meet their massage therapist. They give them a free session. This is what I do. Every single one of my clients can walk out of my office with your card. I don't do massage. I get asked, there's not a drop of lotion in my office. I get asked, do you do massage? No, I don't. Here's a card. I tell her I said hi. So I get referral sources, and people get to know about me, and my card circulates around, and people are like, hey, who's that pain guy you were talking about?
That's what I was looking for, that word pain. So that that is really like the basis of your business is reduction of pain, right?
Or elimination.
Elimination. That's even better. Reduction of the elimination is much better. And so far, like I said, you've been pretty much just networking. And we run in the same networking circles. I know you ran some ads, some radio ads when I was with the different radio group. But other than that, have you been focusing on anything else outside of networking?
I've done some events.
Okay.
So like I'll do like 5Ks. I bring my table and I
that's
work
right. You
on
mentioned that.
people.
That's a great idea.
Oh,
Yeah. Like this is what I do, and here's my card. So I get them in that way. I've hosted like health events. I've done health fairs before. So I sign up for that. The vendor fee's not too expensive. So just trying to figure out what works and throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks.
A 5K ID sounds like such a good idea.
I know, right? Brilliant.
For real.
Right. Anything like that. So I think that a lot of those, if you volunteer to be on site, whether if it's like at a baseball tournament or something like that, you could probably pick up a ton. As long as you're licensed, then I don't see there being a problem. I only see it as being a benefit.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like I said, we're about to run into summer travel ball, and these tournaments are ridiculously large with so many kids. So I have to look in that for you.
Yeah, I get a lot of baseball kids. So.
Yeah, that might be something that would be worth it local anyway. Because you have Boomba out in Sanford, you have Apopka. There's so many baseball. This is definitely a baseball community. What about social? Because I know that you and I've met before, and we talked about social and how you can utilize that too.
Yeah, I'm not the best. I always say I need to hire a high school teenager just to, just come by once a week, pick up a check, do my social media. That's the one thing I'm not the best at. But what I do is so niche. I got called by Yelp and things and to do ads, but like nobody knows what I do. They have to be educated. I'm not a chiropractor. I'm not a massage therapist. I'm not licensed massage therapist, but I don't do massage. I have more in common with a PT, but I don't do PT. I don't do exercises. Right. So I'm in this little niche that people don't know what it is. Some do, but that's so social would help.
Well, I'm on your social, and I see that the reels that Melissa did for you did really, really well as far as, because the thing about Facebook is it will serve that reel to people outside of, the people that have liked or following your page, which I think is pretty good. You have an Instagram too, do you? What are your thoughts on Facebook?
Not talk about that.
Oh,
I do so much. I'm actually in the same boat. Like if I know I'm the videographer and photographer, I do it for other people.
Right.
But when it comes to me, I would rather not be on my computer.
Right.
Yeah.
It's such a
science behind it.
Yeah. So I think that in your situation, what we talked about is where if you're going to be, if for you to make reels outside of what we
Mm-hmm.
do here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that you even said that you had some thoughts on
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Mm-hmm.
what were some of those thoughts? Or do you remember you were talking about, okay, so if it's frozen shoulder, we can talk about you talking about it, and then we can do a little bit of an example of how you would work on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Just a quick little demo. This is how I treat this. This is what this is. This is how I treat it. A lot of things are commonly misdiagnosed, especially in Western medicine. They just give you. I had a client with plantar fasciitis, went to the hospital. The pain was so bad she didn't know what it was. They told her she had plantar and sent her home. And sometimes it's not even plantar fasciitis. It's something else. So it's just, people get we call it the BS diagnosis. A doctor just wants to get rid of you, and we call it patient dumping. They don't know how to help you. Say, well, I'm going to refer you to a specialist, which means I don't know how to help you. I'm gonna,
Right.
You are now
right.
somebody else's problem.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh.
I want those patients. Those are the people that I want you to be my problem.
Right. But I think that would be a beneficial way to talk about, or actually to get in front of a lot of things, because in front of people,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the thing about social is that you can pay to boost things, which I don't disagree with. Boosting stuff does give you a little bit of boost, but again, like I said, you're going to pay $10, $15, $20 for a handful of extra ones. But if you continue to do content videos, then then the it will start serving it to more and more, and the more consistently you do it, the more it will. And then eventually, like I said, you'll get some that they call they hit, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden,
You know what ones I like that are would be kind of in your wheelhouse? I'm not really sure, but when you see like a professional of something like commenting on someone else's video, you know what I mean? Like a chiropractor reacts to like these crazy.
Oh, you watch
chiropractor
those? Yeah.
some of them, but those ones will like catch my eye.
Yeah.
Like, because then it's like I like seeing someone who's knowledgeable in their field reacting to some crazy video some random person put up there. Like that kind of is
There's a
intriguing to
podiatrist
me.
one that does it. I like her videos
Yeah.
a lot. She'll
Yeah.
call stuff out like, this is a stupid device. Don't buy this.
Right. I love
Don't waste
those.
your money.
Well,
Those
that's
would be
one
good.
direction that we could possibly talk about going.
It's, an attention getter.
That's the key. You want to get attention, but you want to stay credible.
Stay credible and not burn too many bridges, because there's certain people, and even I love to pick on my own industry. You go to whatever massage place and you just get lotion rubbed on you, and some franchises call their locations clinics. Like, you're a spa, just be a spa.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
like you're just we call them butt rubbers. And I love a good butt rub. I love massages. They're wonderful,
Right.
but they're not going to fix your frozen shoulder. They're not going to
Right.
fix and I refer back, hey, I love a good massage. Here's a card. So I'm allowed to pick on my own industry because I am a massage therapist.
Right.
Every industry has their quibbles.
I think I loved your idea is like pull some stuff that you've seen, and it can be like something for somebody that's in another state,
That's
so
what
they
I'm
can't
saying,
get
or
mad at
another
you for
country or something
right.
like that, something crazy.
But I think the best thing is like video type reels that explain what you do and have people. And then I'm also going to say testimonials. You can do reels with somebody talking about you. And I don't know, what do you thought? Well, how long will you look at a reel? 20 seconds?
Oh, the attention span's so short
I
nowadays.
know. It's bad.
That's why the one about reacting to other people's videos came to mind, because I'm like, especially if they're crazy videos. it
Right.
catches your eye.
I could. There's plenty of stuff I could pick on, like, hey, this doesn't work, or
Right.
I just keep to myself.
We'll figure it out. Let's get out
Yeah.
there. So right now is the time where you can give everybody all of your contact information, and so they know how to find you.
Yeah, website is inbalance.com. Phone number is 407-801-8502. I'm in Lake Mary. It's the most centralized location. I'm getting people from everywhere.
I think Lake Mary's great. Your location is great.
Yeah, I just want to expand from there. Hopefully I'll have a spot here. It's inbalance.com,
Right.
and feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Awesome.
All right, and you can find me at melissa@strikingbrand.com is my email, and my website is strikingbrand.com.
And I'm at Angela at BaaDradio.com, and on Facebook, it's Business at a Distance, Central Florida Networking. Huge thank you to our sponsors, and thank you for tuning in. Have a great week, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Always.